Welcome back. All right, so wearing my Headstones T-shirt from concert I went to this past week, but I want to talk about Survivor Series War Games. So yesterday it was an 11-game day in the NHL, watching all the games on TV, but on my trusty computer here I had Survivor Series on. I was like, I want to see if it's worth the hype. Now, the women's War Games match, it is what it is. I've seen the spots from the match. And the spots, I honestly think in these matches, the spots are becoming more and more problematic. And the reason is simple. So, wrestlers are supposed to be wrestling for victory, and what we're seeing now is these spots where wrestlers are standing there with their arms out waiting to catch people jumping off the top of a cage. I think they need to stop. I think they need to make it so that it's one wrestler jumping on maybe two. I understand from the top of a cage you want maximum safety. You don't want one catching one just in case the one misses and then you're dealing with maybe a broken ankle or whatever else, right? There could be any kind of injury that takes place there. So I was not overly impressed. There wasn't any kind of heel turn, face turn. In fact, this event was really kind of meh when it came to advancing storylines. I didn't feel like there was anything really advanced at all in the women's match. And so the faces win that one. Dominic Mysterio defeating John Cena for the Intercontinental title. I thought it was probably the best match of the night. The Liv Morgan bit kind of got me. It did. My expectation was Liv would come back and probably smack around Roxanne Perez. I think that's still going to happen. But for the event last night, she turns against Cena, and Dominic gets his belt back. I didn't know whether he was really hurt at ringside or not. Dominic sold that really well, so well done by him. But it was probably the match of the night. That one took 16 minutes and 40 seconds. The women's War Games match, 41 minutes and 40 seconds. But yeah, it was a good match. Dominic Mysterio gets the win there, and rightfully so. He's now a multiple-time Intercontinental Champion. It's only a matter of time before Dom is a world champion in WWE. I think that's what they're building up to, and it's going to be great when it happens. Stephanie Vaquer beating Nikki Bella. Weakest match of the day, probably. And I'm saying probably because we'll get to the men's War Games. I don't think anybody thought Nikki was going to beat Stephanie. The one thing I'll say is Nikki's in incredible shape right now. She looks fantastic. Might be the best she's ever looked. I get concerned every time there's a move that impacts her neck or her shoulders. So when she took the running knees in the corner, I kind of winced a bit, only because I know that Nikki's neck is not in the best of shape. It's what caused her to retire in the first place. And so I worry every time she takes a shot that, that could leave her laying in the ring, and nobody wants to see that. At least I don't think anybody wants to see it. Oh, you don't want to see that, do you? But Stephanie Vaquer keeps the belt. No harm, no foul here. I'm not sure what they're doing with any of the women's titles right now, to be completely honest. I feel like Jade Cargill's kind of just blowing in the wind. She gets the belt, and I don't know what's going on there. The women's US title is pointless. Everything on SmackDown when it comes to the women's division right now seems kind of pointless, which is too bad because there's some talent there, but the writing is it's not very good. And then you get into the fourth and final match. 4 matches. It took over 3 hours. Division, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar defeat CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns, 40 minutes and 30 seconds. Although, from the actual start of War Games, when the cage was closed up and everybody's in the ring, it was not that long. And I did see people calling that out, saying it didn't feel like it took that long for the match. And then there was a surprise entrant, which appears to have been Austin Theory. They tried to make it look like it was Seth Rollins. It's not Seth Rollins. So, I don't know. It happened. It's an event. I thought the men's War Games match was one of the most boring matches I've watched, which is weird because you've got a bunch of guys who are main eventers, and I kept waiting for something to happen. And it was just kind of formulaic. It was kind of by the books. I'm not sure why War Games has evolved to become just another, like what they did with Hell in a Cell, where it's just too much. There's no actual reason for it. Like a War Games match, you should have like basically gang warfare is what leads to war games. Not just, hey, let's have 5 people on this side and 5 people on this side. That's the Survivor Series match. I don't know why we didn't have a standard Survivor Series match. I don't know what's wrong with 5-on-5 single elimination. I don't know why that bothers people. You could have a fun stipulation. You could do something with it. I think when you have a cage and you have like this whole war game setup, you have to have a real vested interest in it. And I remember, I'm trying to remember who all the participants were in the NXT War Games match, which also had Pat McAfee involved. And that was a great War Games match. I think that had... oh, you guys know who would have been in that. But at any rate, I'm thinking back off the top of my head. I hadn't planned on covering that, but that was a great War Games match, and we've seen the women have great War Games matches. It feels like maybe they were better in NXT than they've been on the main roster. Maybe they made more sense. Maybe there was an actual reason for War Games. Like, it should build over weeks and months towards War Games. Like, we can't get this settled. And I think the part that really threw me was I don't feel like anything was settled in that pay-per-view last night, which has kind of become a thing with WWE, and I don't like it. There was a time where, feuds would end at the pay-per-view and you'd start a new one the following Monday. And now it just feels like a lot of the feuds just kind of stay the same and everything's kind of eh. So I'm glad that I wasn't writing notes for this event and I wasn't putting everything on the board and trying to, come up with play-by-play of what was happening. Because I was bored a lot of the time. I've talked about Brock Lesnar. All the overhead throws, we've seen it. I think the part that I found funny was Brock coming in and guys getting up one by one to take the throw. And you're kind of going in a circle. And it's like, this is so... Like, I get that wrestling is, it's soap opera and it's a play. But it should look like fighting. It should look like something more than what it's become. It just feels like now it's all set pieces. It's all, you go from this move to this move to this move to this move. And it's all planned in advance. So every single spot's planned. And there's no actual feeling of, that wasn't supposed to happen there. Oh, wait, what's going on? Like, you don't get that feeling of danger and peril. You can kind of tell when it's going to be a fake out, that it's not actually going to be a 3 count. And I don't know. This is where I've been having problems with the wrestling as of late. I cannot get myself at all emotionally invested in it. I used to, up until very recently, and now it's just sort of, eh. And at the end of almost every match, I'm like, well, that's an interesting decision. Okie doke. So that's who won that match. Let's see what's up next. And I don't know what the solution is, because over in AEW, it seems to be just how much blood can we have in every match, or every other match, or however many. But that puts me off too. Because I mean, to explain this too, like if you can have that kind of brutality and win that way, then why not do it all the time and turn it into ECW? And if you're not going to do it all the time, why are some guys doing it? And it's just it's too bad. One of the shows features a lot of wrestling, way too much blood for my liking, and the other one doesn't feature enough wrestling, and it's all way too staged and sanitized. So there's a meeting in the middle. There's a middle ground that I think professional wrestling needs to have. That I kind of feel like TNA gets it, which is weird, but I've watched some recent TNA stuff, and it feels like they kind of get it, and they don't take themselves too seriously. So It's strange. And NXT is a pretty quality program. NXT, I think, remains the most consistently well-booked program of WWE's 3 shows, which is weird because that's your developmental. That's the one that's not on like the major networks in other countries. It is available on Netflix in Canada, but it's not one that gets pushed or talked about a lot, and yet I think it might be the one I enjoy the most. NXT is the one I actually find myself getting sucked into watching the whole episode. And it's just odd because Survivor Series is supposed to be this really big thing, and this year it just kind of flopped for me. Let me know your thoughts. Was Survivor Series kind of meh for you, or is this me? I've seen others online that seem to agree that Survivor Series wasn't quite up to the usual standard. I don't even know why it's called Survivor Series when you don't have a Survivor Series match in it. There wasn't a Survivor Series. How is it Survivor Series without it? It'd be like the Royal Rumble without the Royal Rumble. This year at the Royal Rumble, well, we're going to have some Hell in the Cell matches. The end. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. But anyways, you guys can let me know your thoughts. Tell me why I'm wrong in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. And here's to hoping that they get this figured out, because I'm not enthused about WrestleMania. I don't see a single main event they're setting up that I say, wow, I can't wait to see that, or that looks great. It's just meh. I cannot get past meh being my reaction to all of it. All right. Take care. I will talk to you again soon.